Well, I have 9 o'clock, so good morning, everyone. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everyone. It's March 15th, 2022, and we will be conducting the McLeod County Board of Commissioners meeting. Consideration of agenda items.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Any additions?
No changes.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel, seconded by Commissioner Smalls to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. We got a sweet looking group of people here. Darcy, would you want to take us into...
Absolutely. Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you for allowing us to come and present to you about what our 4-H program has been up to in the past year or so. Typically, as you might know, I usually come right after fair. So I'm maternity leave this year, so we're a little bit behind our normal schedule. So we'll share with you about all of the summer activities we did, but we'll also share about some of the winter and spring things that we're kind of in the midst of right now. So again, want to thank you as we start for your support as a county board and funding our 4-H program. We wouldn't be able to do that without all of your support. And we appreciate the fact that when we come to you, you know, you're always supportive of everything that we do and you don't question what we're doing. So I appreciate just that continuing support that you always provide. So for those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Darcy Cole and I am your 4-H extension educator here in McLeod County. I've been with you for about 6 years and as an extension educator for almost 16 years now. So I was also a McLeod County 4-H'er. So for me, it's a lot of pride to come back and be able to serve our young people in my home county, in a county that was very influential in me and obviously projected me into my career here. So let all of these wonderful young people and one of our volunteers come up and introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into our presentation. So if you guys want to come up.
So, hi, my name is Julia Quas, and I am currently a senior 4-H member, and I am also the Federation president for our county.
I'm Shelby Swanson. I am the public relations officer, and I am a part of the Coma Acorns.
I'm McKenna Wright. I am the current treasurer for the Federation and my club, and I'm from the Coma Acorns.
Hi, I'm Shelby Lang. I am the secretary for the McLeod County 4-H Federation, and I'm also the vice president of the 4-H Lynn Hustlers.
All right, and I'm Trish Wanis. I'm one of the 4-H parents and volunteers, and our kids go to Glencoe Junior Pioneers.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, thank you for having us. There we go. All right, McKenna is going to start us off here then.
So in the past year, we have had 9 community clubs, 288 community club members, 111 after-school/summer program partner members, and 105 screen volunteers with 11,646 hours and $280,009 value. So last year our intern was my sister, Brianna. So she was a former McLeod County 4-H'er. She was very involved in the dairy project, a little bit of swine, and a lot of static projects. She is currently a senior at SDSU, and she is majoring in agricultural science and egg leadership with a minor in egg business and animal science. So she helped with a lot of the summer programs, leading them and planning them. And then she helped plan a bunch of stuff for the county fair and provide leadership to the county fair round robin and herdsmanship.
All right, you can see there's kind of a laundry list of summer programs we did this summer. I'm not going to list all those out for you, but I'll highlight just a few of them. So we offered both in-person and virtual programming this summer so that we could try and reach all youth regardless of where their family's comfort levels were with COVID. So we got back into being able to do all of pretty much the typical things that we do in the summer. So we offered a number of day camps. We also partnered with some of the same sites that we work with during the school year in Glencoe, Silver Lake, and in Lester Prairie, and offering them activities. We also did a horse camp, and something new for us this summer is we partnered with Hutchinson School's Elementary Bridge program, which was their summer school program essentially, and we went and we offered some activities for them during their day as well to just get the opportunity to expose some kids to our 4-H program that may not get the opportunity to participate otherwise. This summer, we're looking at doing a number of new things as well. We're looking at doing some programming with Hutchinson Schools with their special education extended school year students. We'll be going once a week in July with them and offering them some activities around troubleshooting and building life skills and just following step-by-step instructions. And then we're also working with Megan's Place in Hutchinson, which is a social club for young adults with disabilities. So those will be a couple of new things that we'll be doing this summer. Through last year's summer programming, we reached about 200 youth, which is a little bit lower than a typical year, but I think like every other program, participation numbers have been slow coming back from COVID, so hopefully we'll be seeing a spike in that as we get into 2022's summer programming activities.
So the county fair, there was 210 youth showcased their learning through about 1,600 projects. Top static projects were elementary of photography, crafts, and fine arts. Top livestock projects were dairy, poultry, and swine. Auction, there was 559 people, and there was 42,000 premium sales and donations. The county fair is a great opportunity for mini 4-H'ers because you get to come in and you get to showcase your own animal and your own projects, and it's really great to walk out there and walk out of the show ring with a purple ribbon or a blue ribbon or a red ribbon. It's really great to be able to prove that worth to many people. On the state fair, there was 48 youth livestock projects. There was 30 youth general projects and 5 screened chaperoned. The state fair, you get to make a lot of friends, and it's really nice to go out there and, again, showcase your projects. You have people question you on your project, and you basically get quizzed on your projects, and it's a great experience. It spreads your knowledge to other people.
Can I ask a question, please? Is it 42,000 in premiums? Is that average or?
That was up a little bit from what we were at previously, but it's pretty close to where we usually are. Of that 42,000, 20% of that comes back to our 4-H program to support all the programming we do throughout the year, and the other 80% goes back to the 4-H'ers directly for them to be able to purchase future animals, save for college, do whatever they would like to help kind of move their future forward. So, great question.
Thank you.
Okay, and along with what Shelby was talking about, state fair honors, some of our state fair honors from this year were 17 purple ribbons, 47 blue ribbons, 7 red ribbons, 10 participant ribbons, and all beef kids placed in the top 10 in their classes, 4 livestock overall grand champions, 6 livestock overall reserve champions, 6 livestock interview finalists. Livestock herdsmanship, we placed first in dairy, second in beef, and fourth in swine. We had 5th overall in Riesling's senior dairy cattle evaluation team, and while I'm talking about our dairy cattle teams, we're very competitive when it comes to dairy cattle and how good we are when we have, our dairy cattle. So it's really awesome that we're getting this high up, especially, statewide. We also had 5th place overall 8th Riesling's intermediate dairy cattle evaluation team, and 2nd dairy showcase participants, and 3 dairy rising stars, which is very awesome, especially from being at the state fair level and how competitive it is, being at the state fair. next week, oh no, that's right. Okay, next we have September state showcases. We have state shooting sports and wildlife invitational, 12 participants, 4 top 10 placings, and then a state horse show. We had 9 participants and 9 top 10 placings. And then
So shooting sports is actually one of the things that I'm involved in. So this year our indoor practices start on January 18th, and we're hoping to get them to April 12th. And then outdoor practices, I'm assuming varies on like what the weather is like, but we're hopefully starting those on May 17th, going through September 6th. So right now we have a lot of participants in shooting sports. I mean, you walk into the building at the fairgrounds and you can barely even find a place to shoot anymore. We have great volunteers. They're very helpful. They kind of help everybody know. They're very friendly. It's just a very enjoyable environment, and it seems like everybody has fun with it, and we just all kind of love what we do there.
Question? When you participate in shooting sports, are you talking about archery or gun or both?
I do archery, but I think we have like BB guns. Do we?
Shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun.
Yep, trap, muzzle loading, wide variety of things, and they just work throughout the season to just keep improving their own personal best, so that by the end of the season, hopefully they're better than they were at the beginning of the season.
Awesome, thank you.
Question two also is the four you had, what were they in? Were they in gun or bow or?
There were some in archery and also some in our air rifle pistol kind of area. So a wide range of those, and that's pretty typical of what we see as far as skills of kids. So.
Next, we have the fruit fundraiser. It was actually our second highest year for sales, and we sold about $30,036 total dollars in sales. We had 1,130 total items sold, and the delivery will be on March 21st.
Okay, so our next topic is Project Bull, which I'm actually in. I'm in General Livestock Project Bull, though. So March 5th at Foley, we had our Horse Bull, and they placed first for their senior division. And March 12th at Hastings, Dairy Bull, there was 3 teams, and this was actually this last weekend. General Livestock Bull, we had 1 team, and we actually did make it to state, so we'll be going to state on the 9th, which is really exciting. And for our Poultry Bull, we had 1 team. And lastly, March 19th in Redwood Falls, we had our Rabbit team, and they have 1 team. So one interesting thing with Project Bull is, you have the buzzers and you're buzzing in for questions, but a lot of it's you learn a lot, and it's a lot. It helped me find actually what I wanted to do and what I wanted to go to college for. So I find Project Bull was a very interactive thing, especially for me growing up. So.
I was curious, Darcy, on that sounds like fun. I mean, we didn't have that when I was in 4-H, but it sounds
I think we
like
should have
fun.
a button for when you have to talk.
Yeah, there you go, right? Yes. Yes, it is. It's a great opportunity, especially for kids who, show livestock already. It's a great way for them to learn a ton more knowledge about their species, which will serve them better as they're raising their animals, as they're doing showmanship at the fair, as they're showing them. So it is just a great way to not only, be building on quality animals, but also knowledge around those animals.
Do you get people that aren't involved in 4-H come and watch that? I mean, I would think that would be
Not
good
a ton,
training.
actually. When they do the regional contests, they don't really advertise them to the general public, so it's usually just those 4-Hers who are actually participating in the event or family members that are there with them. So, yeah, great question.
See, the better you guys get, the more questions there are. So
That's good, though. That's good. That's good, and it's good for them. It makes them all have to think on their toes. So I'm going to spend just a minute here and highlight for you a grant that we're currently in the process of working on. This is a grant that is a 2-year grant, and it is scheduled to go through this October. So we're almost to the end of our 2 years. We are going to look to ask for a little bit of an extension on that because with COVID, our clubs weren't meeting in person or as regularly or in the same ways that they were when we applied for the grant. So we're going to ask for that. But we are almost through 2 years. It is a $50,000 grant that we received from the Department of Human Services. And it is a partnership between 4-H, and particularly the 4-H in McLeod County is the Coma Acorns 4-H Club. And also in Anoka County, it is the Awesome Fire Dragons, and they are a club that is designed for youth with fetal alcohol syndrome. And then our club is what you would typically see in a 4-H program, so not necessarily targeting any specific kids with disabilities. But so we have those two kind of different clubs so that we can kind of see how we can work across the state to be able to just make all of our clubs more inclusive. This grant is in partnership with the University of Minnesota's Institute on Community Integration, which is a group at the university who work to just help people with disabilities to be better integrated into their communities. The purpose of this grant is really to help make our 4-H clubs in these two counties and in these two clubs initially to be more inclusive to young people with disabilities. We know that our 4-H club does not necessarily reflect our community demographics when it comes to working with youth with disabilities. Across the state, about 16% of young people are on IEP, and our 4-H program is a much lower percentage of that. So we're hoping to be able to just put some supports in place so that our club volunteers can feel like they're better prepared to support people with disabilities, and then we can do some recruitment to be able to bring them into our program more. So that's kind of the purpose of this grant, and then after we complete our 2 years, we're going to look at how we can scale this larger across the state so that all of our 4-H programming is more inclusive to people that may have a disability or some extra needs in our program. So,
Nursing.
yeah.
This is awesome, by the way. How long has this been around? Is this pretty new?
This program, like I said, it's a 2-year grant, and we are about
Have we had
a
it
year and a half
before?
in. What was that?
Have we had it before?
No,
Okay.
this is a new grant. Across our state, when we look at working with youth with disabilities, I'm kind of the go-to person for Minnesota 4-H. Part of that is personal. I have 2 of my 4 children do have autism, so for me, it's lived experience every day. And for me, it's something that is important for our programs to be inclusive to young people. So when our state program leader asked me to head up this grant, I jumped at the opportunity to do this because this is work that we are not well serving all of our youth in our state, and hopefully this will help us to do this better. It is an incredible opportunity to do that, and it's also been a great way to be able to place some more focus on this work because we have the financial dollars behind it to be able to do that. There's also, Paul and even some of our youth that are here today can speak a little bit to this grant as well because they're seeing it firsthand as parents, volunteers, and members.
Is there anything the board can do to help you? I mean, you don't have to answer right now.
Yeah.
You need to let us know because I think this is huge.
Yeah, it is. It's some great work and some hard work. Some really hard work, and that's why we're working to partner with Megan's Place and working to get into the school and make those contacts so that we can have those kids in our program and build the trust of those families and hopefully be able to draw them in more. We've also been in conversations with our county social services here to try to figure out how can we promote our program better to people that they may have on their caseload. So we're just kind of in those initial stages of getting things set up. As part of this grant, we did a retreat last October for volunteers from those 2 clubs and youth from those 2 clubs so they could come and get some initial knowledge around working with people with disabilities and help just to develop some of that comfort level. And then now what we're doing is essentially each month we have training that either myself or staff from the Community on Integration is providing to our clubs. So last night, as part of our Coma Acorns 4-H club meeting, I provided to them, we did some simulations. We had all of our youth go through different stations that help them to be able to feel what it might feel like to actually have a disability. So they had to try with goggles or safety glasses that had petroleum jelly on there, try to read in a book that they were unfamiliar with and try to record what that looked like to kind of simulate what it feels like to have a visual disability. They also had to try to jump rope with a piece of yarn, which is much more difficult than it sounds, and to be able to walk along a straight line holding binoculars the wrong way. Both of those help them to feel what it might feel like to have a perceptual disability. And then to give them a feel of what it might feel like to have a fine motor disability. They had to wear a little bit big and awkward gloves to try to string beads onto some pieces of string and ribbon. So just to give them a little bit of a feel of what that might feel like, and I would tell you that they would probably tell you that they were very frustrated. That was what came out the most when we talked through the activity at the end. And that just gives them hopefully a little empathy for what difficulties and frustration there are for young people in our program that may have a disability. So each month we're just trying to provide them with some training so that they can feel that they are able to more comfortably and better support young people with disabilities. So this will be an ongoing program that we're, like I said, really just kind of getting a roll on. So watch for more to come as we present back to you. So.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there only 2 clubs in the county?
No, we have 9 in our county, or in our county here. In this grant, there's 2, one from McLeod and then one from Anoka County, so that we can get that perspective of both a rural and an urban county, and also the club perspective of what a typical or traditional 4-H club looks like, and one that is really designed or targeting already youth with a disability. Yeah, across our county, and I can pull it up at the end, we do have 9 clubs from all areas of the county. So we have a number in Hutchinson itself that do meet there. We also have clubs in Lester Prairie. We have a Winstead club. We also have clubs in Glencoe as well. So we have just a wide variety of areas of where those kids come from.
So does this reach out to those clubs, or it's just the 2?
For this, it's just the 2 initially, because we're just kind of testing the training and piloting it. And then after we complete that 2 years, it'll go out to the rest of our clubs in our county, but also statewide. So.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, I want to share with you a little bit about the impacts of 4-H, and some of you know this because you were a 4-H'er and you experienced this firsthand. But we appreciate the funding that you give us to be able to have our 4-H program, because we know that the more positive things we put into our young people now, the less expense you're going to have later on because of issues. So youth that are in 4-H, when compared to their peers, are typically 2 times more likely to go on to college. Our girls are also 2 times more likely to pursue a career in science or technology than their peers are. They also are 2 times more likely to get better grades than other young people that are not involved in 4-H. When we look at that as well, we see typically about 41% less risky behaviors that our 4-Hers are participating in than their peers, partly because they have a positive place to be where they can feel connected to a family outside of their home. And again, that results in, for you guys down the road, less dollars that you're spending in costs associated with that. We also see that young people in 4-H are about 25% more likely to positively contribute to their families and their communities, and that comes from the focus that we have on community service in our program. That is a large part of our club work typically. And we also see that youth in 4-H are 2.3 times more likely to exercise and be physically active, which means less healthcare costs for them down the road as well. So, we see those personal stories that they're going to tell you, but when we look at the greater community benefits, there's also a lot of those that come from having a 4-H program in our county.
These are just some upcoming activities and events that we have coming up later this year. We have the Project Bowl competitions and after-school programming. March 21st, we have the Family Fun Night, the Favorite Food Show, and the Fruit Fundraiser delivery. The Family Fun Night, we have a bunch of tables. You can go around and learn about different species and just learn more about 4-H and what it is. And then we have the spring and summer shooting, sports and horse practices, and spring planning meetings.
All right, so that is a little bit of what we've had going on this summer, as well as what we're leading into this winter, spring. I'm going to let these guys share a little bit with you about some of the impacts that 4-H has had on them personally, and then we'll take any other questions or ideas or things that you have for us. So if you each want to come up and share, I know you all look like you're jumping at that opportunity to do that. I just want you to be able to hear firsthand from them, why the 4-H program matters and what your dollars support. As I can tell you from when I was a youth, obviously 4-H was a big thing for me. My involvement was, really focused around the sheep project, and that helped me to be able to know that I wanted to be going to school for something related to agriculture. And when I was young, elementary age, I thought the 4-H leader was awesome, right? So this was a career that I had wanted to do, and for that reason went to school for agriculture education and got my teaching license. And then after school got done, I had the opportunity to be able to come back and give back to our program, and I count that as a blessing every day because we have incredible volunteers and incredible members, and we have the opportunity to make some pretty amazing impacts on our young people's future.
So, hi, my name is Julia Kloss. Like I had said before, the one thing that I'm doing currently in this season of fall is general livestock knowledgeable. But along with that, I also show Dorset sheep and cattle and goats. And I usually make it to State Fair. But this last year, I did make it to State Fair with my sheep, and it was my first year showing sheep. And I ended up getting reserve grand champion overall in Dorset. So that was really exciting, and it was a really great place for me to be, and it really did show, it helped me find my love for not just beef and goats, but also livestock in general, I guess. And from that, I've found out that I hopefully want to go to college for animal science at SDSU, but next year I'll be attending Ridgewater for PSEO my senior year to get ahead on the curve and start getting into it. So.
I'm Shelby Swanson. I am very involved in the dairy through 4-H. I am also involved in the leadership aspect of it. I am very thankful for all that 4-H has given me so far, and I've learned a lot of leadership skills, and it has also helped me decide that I want to do something with the dairy industry in the future. And there's a lot of learning opportunities that I've already learned, and I hope to get more people involved in 4-H.
So along with shooting sports, I'm involved in many different livestock species. I do a bunch with dairy because we're a third-generation dairy farm. So I show them at the county fair. I have done it at the state fair, but I usually take swine for that. I'm participating in dairy bowl and dairy judging. And then again, I show swine. That one's always fun. Great people in there. Absolutely just amazing. I love it. Then I also have started doing beef. That one's another one that I just absolutely love. Amazing people all around. And then I showed rabbit last year. I think that's kind of one of the only years I'm going to do it, mainly because I don't want to keep on just showing the same one. I'm not super into that, especially when they kind of all on the same day. But yeah. Otherwise, I am also a 4-H ambassador, so all the day camps that we go to, I kind of get to help along with those and kind of see all the kids that we have in the 4-H program and out in the community. It's a great leadership thing. And overall, 4-H has just kind of like gotten me out there in the community. I love doing community service projects, and I just love seeing everybody that's there because it's just such a great experience to have.
And you have to look for, McKenna did an incredible demonstration last night of a painting she did. So you have to look for a painting of her grandparents' barn at County Fair. It's pretty amazing.
So I'm Shelby Lang. I'm very active in the Black Angus industry, and along with my quarter horses and my miniature horses, which I drive a cart with my miniature horses, and I ride and I show my quarter horse. I've been given the opportunity many times to go to the state fair with my Black Angus and with my horse, but I haven't been able to go with my horse except for last year because usually we go down to Iowa and we show down there. 4-H has really impacted me because I'm also the 4-H ag ambassador for the state of Minnesota, and I get to go around and I get to promote ag in many ways. I've also been given the chance to go down and compete at a national level for my Knowledge Bowl for horses, and we got to go down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was a great opportunity to go because that was a whole nother level of competition. It's not as small town as it is here. I've also been given the opportunity for what I want to do with my career. I want to go into child development. I really like working with kids, And 4-H is giving me the opportunity to work with kids because I've been really active with my 4-H club, and I get to communicate through little kids, and I get to see their perspective on things. So it's really great. Thank you.
All right, so I'm Trish Wanis, one of the parents of volunteers. My husband Dan was supposed to be here today, but is in a meeting, so he was not able to make it. So we have 4 kids. They've all been in 4-H. Our oldest is in the 5th year of college because they like to go to college. And so they've loved it. They've showed cattle. We've done shooting sports. We have done wood shop projects. They have done it all. Their biggest things are we also have had kids leased from us. So they've leased livestock. So their kids live in town that don't have animals, don't have a farm, that otherwise wouldn't get that opportunity to have animals and show them at the fair. So we've had leased kids. We've had leased kids for beef and leased kids for swine. And they have done great. We still have our one leased kid. She is 21, last year in college, and she is still showing junior shows with us. She just went and got her state FFA degree, and she's going for an American degree, something that she probably wouldn't have done if she didn't get that opportunity through 4-H to lease to go on and show with us. So we're really excited for that. So we love working with kids. We are also the swine superintendents for 4-H. Over the years since we've done that, our swine numbers have gone up. The last couple years of COVID, they went down, but at our peak, I think we had 80 to 90 hogs in the barn. So that's really exciting for us. The kids, as you heard, love to take swine to the state fair. Easy project. They love it. They have a great time. They have done great in herdsmanship, keeping their area clean and moving around the barn, getting up closer and to the front and talking to people about swine and hogs that they, don't just smell. They're pretty cool. And they have a good time. I know your pigs really like some special treats. She likes to feed them leftovers, I think, from her lunch at the fair. So they really have a good time. The kids have been great. Our kids have enjoyed it through all the years. Our youngest is 9, so we're in it for the long haul still, having a great time. The kids like it, and we enjoy being with them.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you for coming and sharing today. It's always nice to get the opportunity for you to hear firsthand from them about all of the impacts the program has. At this point, I would love to entertain any questions that you have or things that you'd like to learn a little bit more about our 4-H program about. Or if you want to share anything else.
I'll just add, Mr. Chair, updates of the 4-H program are definitely not strange to our board meeting. We talk about those successes quite often, and the slide that had the state fair accomplishments on that, 17 purples, 47 blues, numerous other outstanding awards. When McLeod County goes to the state fair, they know that we're there. Our areas are clean. You can see that with our herdsmanship awards that we bring home, and our program. It's all about our youth and making those kids successful. But I'm glad that Trish was able to make it today. Too bad Dan was not. Just want to draw attention as to the strength of our volunteers. They do an amazing job with that swine project area. Take care of those kids, and as a matter of fact, in a couple weeks you have a sale to which you will be marketing parts of your herd off for others to expand into the 4-H project area, and then they will continue to mentor those kids, keeping in mind that they will show against their own children in these shows. But it's just absolutely impressive to have volunteers like what Dan and Trish bring to our county program.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, they shared earlier, McKenna shared that we had 105 screen volunteers in our program. So we look at that. So essentially that is one volunteer to every 3 young people that participate in our program, and they are what allow us to be able to do all of the incredible things that we do. So we're thankful to them every day. Paul also volunteers. He's one of our shooting sports trainers. He's one of our dairy superintendents, helps to coach our dairy bowl team. So very active in a wide variety of experiences that we have in our program. And I thank you, Paul, for all of the time and passion that you put into all of our young people.
I think there's a lot of 4-H experience up here at the table that
There
I
is
think
a
we could
ton
hear about
always,
a little bit.
yes.
So.
Yeah, and he's obviously a champion of promoting 4-H, and he reminds some of us older guys that are away from it. I mean, he's got kids in it, so it's fun. And as long as I've been on the board, there's always been a willingness to support 4-H, and now we're working on our economic development. While I'm sitting here this morning, I can see that as we work that out. It'd be nice to work with the 4-Hers in that, and I'm gonna take my hat off to you for taking the extra duties and what you're doing with the special needs, and I heard you and a few of your other 4-Hers say you're proud of what you're doing. We're proud of you as well.
Thank you.
So it's good to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, it's work that needs to be done, and, it's different work and maybe harder work than some of the other things we're doing, but it's definitely going to be some great benefits to our program and work.
It'll be worth it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, these kids, they talk about all the cool things that they do. They share with you some of their big accomplishments, but you look at, just the things that they do on a daily basis in our 4-H program. We had our club meeting. 2 of these girls up that are here today are club officers, so they had the opportunity to lead their club last night. They also had the opportunity to get up close and personal with a rat that someone brought for their demonstration, which I don't think that they necessarily liked. Just like church, the front row was pretty empty, so when they transitioned from the front table leading, they had to be in the front row, right in about 2-3 feet from this 4-Her with their rat, and I think that there was a little bit of squirming happening from them, but it's also a good opportunity for them to learn about and get to experience something that they wouldn't ever have the chance to otherwise. So.
As long as his name wasn't Willard,
I don't remember his name. Do you? I think they were just too
I think they
creeped
blacked
out.
They blacked out. The way
Yeah, they were too creeped out to remember its name, but little kids thought it was amazing. And they were in line to pet this.
Yeah,
just not some of the older
pet their
kids.
hats. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Can we get a photo of the group with the board?
yeah,
that would be wonderful.
Should we do it like
Thank you
we
very
had
much.
before?
Yeah,
Line
thank
them up
you.
there and take the picture. Does that work?
Okay. Darcy.
Thanks for sharing this
Again,
morning.
thank you, everyone. Keep up the good work.
Tim, I'm in a good mood. Don't wreck it.
How do you follow an act like that, huh? Good luck here.
Sheriff office is next. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on the squad situation. Consider approval of a revised request to purchase 3 Ford Police Interceptor Utility 3.0 Eco and 1 Ford Police Interceptor Utility via state bid from 1040 Ford for the cost of $147,968 with the funds from the Sheriff's Office budget. This is an increased cost of $11,232. The squad's vehicle purchase was previously approved by the County Board on November 15, 2021 to purchase 6 2022 Dodge Durango squad vehicles. Dodge of Burnsville informed the Sheriff's Office on February 28, 2022 that they are canceling 5 of the 6 vehicles due to production shortage related largely to the lack of semiconductor microchips, supplier parts, and V8 engines. The 1 Dodge Durango that the Sheriff's Office will receive is a carryover from a canceled order in 2021. This request is being revised to include available squad vehicles and to update the County Board of the change. As a result of the increased cost to switch to 4 vehicles, the Sheriff's Office will postpone ordering a 5th squad. The vehicles are tentatively scheduled to be built end of June and with anticipated delivery date of July of 22.
So in layman's terms, I mean, what is that? How does that put you? Are you satisfied with what this gives you for squads, or
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's good for now.
gonna be all right?
Yeah, we've had. We're training a deputy, so we've been short a deputy, so one of the squads hasn't been used as much. I think it'll also help, with the gas prices going up. By not getting the squad, it'll help offset some of those costs. And
You hear the horror stories with the chips and and deliveries and the cost increases, but it looks like you kind of worked your way through it.
Yeah, they canceled 118 Durangos in Minnesota, so it didn't just affect us, it affected a lot of other departments, so.
Any questions for?
No question, Mr. Chair, but I would move the request be approved.
Okay, motion's made by Commissioner Smalls to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Health and Human Services.
Nope, highway.
Excuse me.
I'm not taking Barrett's item.
I had one eye on the paper and one eye on the screen. Wrong eye one.
Yeah.
John.
One item for you today is to consider purchase of a John Deere R240. That's an 8-foot rotary disc mower, a Midwest machine out of Glencoe for $8,350. And that doesn't include trade amount of $5,500 for a 2007 John Deere 265 disc mower. We did have another quote from Arnold's out of Glencoe for $9,850. Delivery of this isn't so bad. It's expected in June, and this mower is part of our normal capital replacement program and in our budget for this year.
Mr. Chair, I will move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve the purchase of a John Deere rotary disc mower.
Second.
Is there a second by Commissioner Luthens? Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And just one more item. I'd just like to remind everybody that road postings did go on yesterday, so notices went out to the media and social media and everything, so. That time of
Pretty
year.
much the normal time of the year.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to other years, so hopefully they don't take too big of a beating this year, but you look around and there's seems like a lot more cracks in the towns and even on some of our rural stuff. So.
They're rough.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, Health and Human Services. Morning, Barrett.
Good morning. Just have a proclamation to read today. It is Social Work Month. March is Social Work Month. And so State of Minnesota proclamation that I will read. For decades, the social work profession has been dedicated to improving society's well-being and enhancing the basic needs of all people, especially those who have been most impacted during the COVID-19 pandemic. And social workers are the largest group of mental health care providers in the United States and work daily to help people, both in person and remotely, overcome substance use disorders, mental illness, and trauma. And social workers help people cope with death and grief, as well as helping individuals and communities recover from increasing natural disasters such as fires, hurricanes, and earthquakes brought on by climate change. And social workers have helped this nation live up to its values by successfully advocating for equal rights for all. And social work is one of the fastest growing careers, with more than 17,000 licensed social workers in Minnesota, more than 715,000 social workers today in the United States, and nearly 800,000 professionals expected to be employed across the nation as social workers by 2028. And social workers have continued to push for changes that have made our society a better place to live, including livable wages, improved workforce safety, and social safety net programs that help alleviate poverty, hunger, and homelessness. And social workers possess the necessary expertise to assist our nation in various areas, including equal rights, improved health care, and mental health care for all, and immigration reform. And social workers are employed in all facets of our society to meet people no matter their circumstances and empower them to live their fullest potential. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz proclaimed the month of March 2022 as Social Work Month. So just a shout out to all our social workers that work here in McLeod County and across our county and states. Thank you.
Thank you. Employee Relations, Hannah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a few items today. I'm going to start with item A, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the items below. So the first item today is item A, consider approval for the Evaluation and Personnel Committee's recommended grade change for the jail administrator. This is a grade change. This is currently graded a 190, and after evaluation, the recommendation is to approve a grade 200 for the jail administrator. This role oversees the jail, the corrections officers, our jail sergeants, and the day-to-day operations of the McLeod County Jail. And this came from a request from the sheriff after reviewing the current job description, updated it, and then again went through that evaluation process and then presented to the Personnel Committee. And the sheriff is here too if there's any questions for him.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Question, Hannah, and it pertains not just to this one, but
Yep.
to all of them. Can you explain the evaluation process a little bit?
Sure.
To help me understand
Yeah.
it better?
So in 2017, McLeod County started working with a keystone grade leveling process. So all of our jobs are evaluated in the same process. We have a small group of McLeod County employees who take a non-biased approach by looking at the job description and then utilizing this leveling process that takes into consideration things like knowledge and skills required, the maybe communication or responsibility the job has. So it's the same leveling process that we have done for all of our positions within the county. And I really feel pretty confident about that small group of folks. It's a group of people that are across county, representing different parts of the county, and really try to take a full county approach looking at that job, but also how it fits within the rest of the roles.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions for Hannah?
I'll move approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the grade change, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Items B through G. So these are positions that were not previously graded. These are positions that were some seasonal positions, some of our 67 shift positions you'll see, and I'll go through them one by one, but I just want to be clear, these are not grade increases. These are jobs that were kind of on their own because they're unique. They're not a traditional 28-hour or part-time or a full-time position. So we had met with the Personnel Committee to ask how we wanted to approach these jobs since they weren't within the leveling system. And the recommendation from the Personnel Committee was to say, we have this process, we have these job grades, let's make sure all of our jobs, even the ones that aren't as traditional, like our posse members or our seasonal workers for the summertime. So that's why we went ahead and graded all of these positions within that same process. So that's why I'm bringing those to you today. Any questions about that at all? Okay, so item B, just considering approval for the Evaluation and Personnel Committee's recommendation, initial grade for Parks and Fairgrounds summer worker to be a grade 110.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Hannah, I guess I will, I mean, we've had some discussion. Again, these numbers, I have to ask what they mean, so I'm sure, if anybody's watching, they're gonna wonder what does 110 mean or what it,
Sure.
But I mean, we've had people contacting us and everybody knows the challenges of finding summer help or any kind of help for that matter right now. And I mean, even on my own, I know you did a lot of work. I'm on the Personnel Committee, but I also did a lot of my own work. It's all over the board. I mean, if we truly want to fill some of these positions, we got to have a baseline. And in talking with you, you've worked hard to get these out there. So I guess if I truly have to go to you or someone to figure out what all these mean. But we did go through that, and I felt they were fair. I mean, their starting place. I don't know, Sheila, if you have anything more to say on that as well. being there's a few of these, I'm sure I'm gonna get some questions, but
The 110, those numbers are our grading system, so they refer to our wage scales. So if the public has questions about what those numbers mean, if you've ever looked at our job postings, each is assigned a grade. In the past, we didn't treat part-time positions the same as full-time. So that's why you're seeing all of these at once. We needed to fit them into our grading system. There's really not a reason for them not to have been put in there. I think that McLeod County probably changed the way that we approach part-time work over the past few years. And Commissioner Nagel, Commissioner Kruger, myself, and Hannah decided last week to make sure that these were assigned a grade as well, because it should have been a long time ago. These people are already working, they're already paid. There's not any real change. It's just that they needed to fit into our system. So
Yeah.
I hope that explains it.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
different positions do different things. I mean, it's a necessary, I don't want to call it a necessary evil, but it gives us a baseline for all the jobs, so hopefully.
Well, and I'll add too, so this all started a few months ago with the veterans van drivers, where we started to realize, there was a challenge with how we're present these wages and keep up with them. So this is it wasn't just overnight that we did this, and it's no fun when you have to see them all at once. But again, it's really just putting these people where they essentially already were, just in a more formal process, so that we can move forward. We don't have those, it's just more formal is what it is, and that's what we wanted out of the personnel committee. So.
Yep. And Mr. Chair, again, this just creates consistency. That's what we're wanting to do here.
And I noticed some of the summer helps coming back 2 or 3 years. That makes a difference. I mean, you want to be in the right area to be able to get that help. So I mean, I checked with farm help, summer help. I checked all over. I mean, it's kind of all over the board, but I think you did a good job. So.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Great. Item C, consider approval for the evaluation of personnel committee's recommended initial grade of GIS summer worker to a grade 110.
Move request, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. D.
Item D, consider approval for the evaluation and personnel committee's recommended initial grade of an engineering summer worker to grade 120.
Again?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Smalls. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E.
Item E, consider approval of the evaluation and personnel committee's recommended initial grade of sheriff's posse to grade 130.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. F.
Consider approval of the evaluation and personnel committee's recommended initial grade of the veteran van driver to a grade 120.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel, seconded by Commissioner Wright to approve grade 120. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. G.
Item G, consider approval of the evaluation and personnel committee's recommended initial grade of summer worker highway maintenance to grade 110.
I'll move on grade 110. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Kruger, seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. H.
Thank you. Item H, consider approval of the agreement between Southwest West Central Services Cooperative, or SWWC, Wellness Institute in McLeod County to operate the participation-based wellness program offered by the Wellness Institute in 2022. This current program is designed to improve well-being and control healthcare costs by encouraging participation in the county in activities and create an awareness of current well-being status. The Wellness Institute provides a $500 incentive for each eligible employee who participates in an on-site biometric screening and participates in at least 2 participation-based activities offered by the employer. No individual is required to do this program, but all of these activities are related to health in order to obtain this reward. In addition to the incentive program, SWWC supports a minimum of 5 wellness activities here at McLeod County throughout the year for all employees who choose to participate. In 2021, we had 98 employees in McLeod County participate and qualified for the $500 wellness credit. So $49,000 were awarded through SWWC to our employees, which is great. And these efforts are led by Carrie Ward, who's the McLeod County Health Educator, alongside the McLeod County Wellbeing Committee. So this is just a re-signing for the same program in 2022.
It's pretty much self-explanatory, and I do follow it a little bit on our webpage, so any questions?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is kind of my wheelhouse, being that I serve on the Wellbeing Committee. Carrie presents options to us, and this is one of them, and it benefits our employees. The participation level, I would say, in my opinion, is doing very well, and as more people realize that this is $500 credit towards them, I think we'll even increase participation moving forward. So with that, I will move approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Small, seconded by Commissioner Nagel to approve. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Review of Commissioner calendars. There all goes. Commissioner Luthens, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'll start out with Tuesday, March 1st, McLeod County Board meeting and a workshop. Wednesday, the 2nd, is day at the Capitol. Go back to the 8th, on Tuesday, it was Township Day, so there's several township meetings. Wednesday was packed for families. That was in Wilmer, Minnesota. Quite a few social workers and directors there, not too many commissioners. And Thursday, CHB meeting in Hutch. It's the 3 counties. One of our main workers is retiring, and so we worked on that for a while. And on the 11th, had a meeting at SMAMHC in Marshall. That's it.
Okay, after the last time we met with our workshop, main meetings after that on the 8th, department head, and from there a full day of township meetings. I have 4 townships. 3 of them pretty well meet at the same time, so it's kind of a race to get across the countryside quick enough to get them all between Round Grove, Lynn, and Penn, and then Collins at night. Main questions that came up from that, some of the road projects, a couple of gravel road concerns, our proposed new highway building here in Glencoe was talked about, some ditch projects, and just some overall county finance questions were pretty much the bulk of the conversations that I had to answer at those. So that's about it. Thanks.
All right, for me, I had, on the 28th, I had a Mid-Minnesota RTCC workshop, it was about transportation. It was a Zoom meeting about how and what the expectations are of RTCC, and for me it's how it works together with Trailblazer. On the 1st, we had our after board workshop, and then after that we had 3 ditch hearings. They all went well. It went well. On the 2nd, I had North Fort Crow, One Watershed, One Plan in Litchfield. Again, it's a lot of boilerplate stuff. I'm talking about different projects and how to proceed. And on the 3rd, I had a Trailblazer RTCC meeting with the elected officials of Trailblazer and Health and Human Services from McLeod, Sibley, and Carver. On the 4th, I had an ATP District 8 transportation meeting. Again, it talks about projects in the district, and obviously ours are we've got some movement here with our J-turns on 212, a roundabout, and on 25. Am I missing something, John?
Ours is funded in 26 and 18.
Right. And, I mean, things are proceeding well. I like our relationship is very well with the state, so it helps to be there. On the 8th, I also had township annual meetings. I had my Glencoe Township here in Glencoe at 1, and I had Helen Township at 7 in the afternoon, and we also had a department head and personnel meeting that day as well. On the 10th, the CRF committee met with and talked about broadband with some companies that provide broadband to look how that would look in McLeod County, and then also I had agenda review that afternoon. Topics.
Mr. Chair, you noted for Carver County, but it should have been McLeod sibling, right? For one of your groups.
Oh,
Just
okay,
may want
I'm
to
sorry.
correct that before you're done.
Yep.
Thank you.
And my topics also at Township's meeting were gravel roads. I have a road closing, or closed now, or changing with intersections in my district, so there were some questions on that, but I think we're making some progress. That brings us to today. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. After the last board meeting, the workshop, and I think there's still some items that we'll discuss today that we vetted through that workshop a couple weeks ago. Always continual budget discussions and personnel discussions. Many of them were covered with Hannah's presentation, and thank you for working through that. That was probably a more daunting task than we gave you credit for, so thank you for that. The annual township meetings, focusing on the townships that I represent. Hutchinson Township had questions about County Road 60 and our plan there, and if I discussed how it's being thrown around about paving it and what needs to be done, and how much of that road would get that, we'd enter into that project. So that's ongoing, and they're aware of that, so I think that's a good thing, and they're supportive of it, especially with the amount of traffic they get on it, which led into a gravel road discussion, which led into a grading discussion, which I just wanted to have a cookie at the end of it. But we got through it, and they were very respectful and very kind, and seemed to understand what we were going through with that. Also at the township meetings, I got some questions regarding how and why we use the state bid versus local vendors. And sometimes we can use local vendors because they honor the state bid prices. And I wish Mike was here right now because he could give his speech on how we're required and responsible for taking the low bid and the best price for the taxpayers. But we worked through that, and the gentleman had some pretty specific questions about a specific department. I looked into it, and everything is just fine as far as I'm concerned. Also had a meeting, actually last night, about some buildings at the fairgrounds. Some constituents wanted to talk to me about it, and I was pretty nervous, right? Because we've all been there where they're gonna get you. But it was very complimentary, especially, ironically, we talked about shooting sports today, especially about the archery range and what we've done there. They're very encouraged by how we've diversified that fairgrounds and not made it a 1 week a year facility. So they mentioned the hockey arena and the hog barn, right? Or the sheep barn. Maybe we probably should put one in the sheep barn. I think it'd stay busy too. And even some ideas about an outdoor rink that could go there near the pavilion. So it was really good, and I just bring that up because it's a lot of these types of meetings don't always go so positive, but they were very supportive, and they realized it costs money, but they were willing to help and partner with those types of things. So That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Nagel. I'll go back to March 1st. After our board meeting, March 1st happened to be a marathon day for me. We had our county board meeting followed by a workshop. And then at 11 a.m., we had a presentation by Houston Engineering, which is our independent engineering firm that does review of our ditch systems. And they explained, what they do, why they do it, and we also discussed, issues or problems that we've encountered, doing those assessments. And then that afternoon, as Commissioner Kruger stated, we had hearings on CD5, CD13, and CD29. Those ditch systems lie in Bergen Township for the most part. They also enter a couple other neighboring townships as well. The purpose was to receive the historic review that was done, and meetings went well, and we're on to the next process, which would be preparing a repair report for those three systems. And after that meeting ended, I headed to St. Paul to be part of the AMC Legislative Conference there. That evening, MRC hosted their meeting, and I didn't make the beginning of the meeting, but I walked in, maybe around the middle of it, and where MRC looks at their legislative priorities, and it tells their lobbyist, Dan Larson, what kind of message MRC wants Dan to be conveying to our state legislators. Of course, county-based purchasing in regards to the struggle that we've had with Prime West is of top concern. Another concern is broadband, providing a higher level of broadband service to those who are unserved or underserved in the state of Minnesota. One other thing that was brought out is there's been some discussion about holiday, taking a holiday from paying sales tax on gasoline purchases, and basically our MC or MCR, I should say, is against that, because we're always looking for funding sources to fund our roads and bridges. So we don't understand why anybody would think that we should be taking a holiday from collecting funds that benefit, our transportation system. Wednesday was our day at the Hill, where we met with our state legislators. I met with Senator Newman first, had a great meeting with him, interaction with what he's doing, and followed by a meeting with Glenn Grunhagen and Dean Erdahl. I will say that all three of our state legislators seem to be well in tune with what AMC and what MRC is trying to present at the legislature. And that conference wrapped up on Thursday the 3rd with a luncheon. Being this is kind of like 4-H recognition day here at the county, I'll say that there was a 4-H recognition at the closing luncheon where AMC awarded one scholarship, and they also had 2 achievement awards given to 2 different clubs within the state of Minnesota during that luncheon. Tuesday the 8th, annual township meetings. I was fortunate enough to make all 3 of my township meetings, starting out in Bergen Township. One of the concerns in Bergen Township, of course, is road and bridge. And we've got a turn back to process here within the next year, and that's a major concern to them, and as we move forward, in discussions between them and the county. Winston Township, nothing specific other than, the discussion on the solars that we've processed here at the county level, and the struggles that we've all had to deal with in working with those. Hale Township, nothing specific as well. Kind of explained to all 3 townships, about what's being done here at the county, with the new government center, with selling some of the properties we're no longer using. Also gave them a bit of a fair warning about, tax statements coming out showing, elevated estimated market values, and kind of explain that process to the townships. Thursday the 10th, like Commissioner Luthens has indicated, we had a CHB meeting in Hutchinson, and he gave a good report on what the topic was on that meeting. And then Friday 11th, I had a Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Service Zoom meeting, Joint Powers Board, and that finishes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmaltz. I thanks for covering the MRC. I had technical difficulties and couldn't log on that day, so that's why I didn't get on, but thanks. Sheila?
I have nothing to add. I'll go ahead with the agenda.
You just want to move on with our administrative items?
Yep. Item A, consider adopting resolution 22-CB-16, additional citizen committee appointments, which there's a copy of in your packet.
Any questions from the board?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright and seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Adopting 22 CB16. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you. I'm going to preface items B, C, D, just B, C, and D, just with a summary quickly about the Armor Radios project that we've been working on for many months. The sheriff is here, the chief deputy is here. They've been very helpful in gathering the information, speaking to all of the city public safety agencies in our county. And the Coronavirus Relief Fund Committee has worked hard on trying to identify projects that can have an impact on our entire county. This is one that we identified that definitely can, and it can reduce the tax liability if the American Rescue Plan Act dollars are used to purchase the upgraded encrypted police radios that are needed, police and fire radios that are needed. So you'll see these items, B, C, and D, are quite expensive, a little under $2 million. We've been talking to our county board about this for many months. We've had workshops, and our Coronavirus Relief Fund Committee, again, has been working on this diligently. We met with the city agencies. We have spoken with the city council representatives, so the administrators or the clerks, and they all have the agreements in hand that are listed in your packet in order for the county to use their American Rescue Plan Act dollar allocation to pay for all of the radios in the county for police and fire. Do you have anything to add? Okay. So I'll go ahead and ask you for those items now. Item B, consider approval to purchase Armor radios from Motorola Solutions from McLeod County Public Safety Agencies for a cost not to exceed $1,830,598 using American Rescue Plan Act funds from the Coronavirus Relief Fund account. Any questions?
Tim, have you got anything to add before we go into vote? I mean, I know you've talked at it ad nauseum, and it's a good deal. But for any new people that are listening, I know it's good. I mean, you might want to explain the reason why we need them, and we would have to pay for them regardless.
Right.
Touch on the inscription part. I try to explain it, but
So when the county went to the Armor system in 2012, we were told at that time to expect about a 10-year shelf life on the radios, which that makes it this year. Earlier this year, we received information from the Minnesota BCA that we needed to, all law enforcement, our criminal justice partners, needed to move towards encrypting criminal justice information that is relayed, whether it's transmitted on a computer or over the radio system. We do not have that capability today to do so, so this is one thing, an additional reason to move forward with this now, because it'll help us get to that goal. There's no hard set deadline to do that. However, we've had issues with the radio starting to fail and repair issues that way. The reason we're doing fire as well is because if law enforcement is on an encrypted channel or a talk group, they won't be able to hear us, or we won't be able to communicate, and we'll cause a lot more difficulty going back and forth between talk groups, and we're going to be missing stuff when the information matters. So that's why we were recommended by the state to put everybody on the same level of radio so we can have that communication.
That last paragraph, for anybody that's listening, needs to listen to that part of it. That seems to be, we're just lucky that these ARPA funds are there to help. I mean, it's going to save on tax money, so I just want to make people to be aware of that. But any questions for Tim?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And Sheriff Langenfeld, can you explain the timing of it? I mean, I think so that people don't think that, we're just rushing to make this decision. Can you talk a little bit about
Right,
the
so
timing?
we've been discussing this, I would say 6 to 8 months at least. The reason we're coming in front of you today is we were notified that Motorola, the manufacturer of the radios, after March 31st is increasing prices by 10 to 13%. So by moving forward today with this, it's saving roughly $1.8 to $2 million by doing, or $180,000 to $200,000 by doing it.
Mr. Chair.
Did you discuss about the obsolescence of the current radios at all? That we would have to change regardless, it's not.
Yeah, at some point within the next year or two, we probably have to change anyway. Alpha Wireless is our vendor that does our radio repair. They do have parts on hand, but they can't guarantee down the road what's going to be there.
And Mr. Chair, I did have discussion at all 3 townships at their annual meetings about this, and that we were going to be looking at this today in our meeting, and all comments were favorable, and I want to support it, and my townships, I believe, will support it as well. So with that said, I will move that we approve request.
Commissioner Smalls is motion to approve. Is there a second?
Just to clarify, so we're moving on item B, right?
Item.
All right, so I'll second it.
Yes, and I had the same comments at our township meetings, trying to explain the reasons. It was easier, the firemen were there, so we got to talk about it a little bit with the firemen. I mean, obviously, it takes a little while of the cost, but it's just, things are falling in shape where we can use some other money and get ourselves brought up to speed. So I'm happy with it as well. One more? Hearing no other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. C.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to wait a minute.
This is broken into 3 parts, like I mentioned at the beginning. Item C talks about the programming costs. Item C, consider approval of quote from Alpha Wireless for programming costs for the Armor radios for McLeod County Public Safety Agencies for a cost of $13,250 using American Rescue Plan Act funds from the Coronavirus Relief Fund. The programming costs will cover the programming of radios for the County Sheriff's Office, Hutchinson Police Department, and Hutchinson Fire Department. The reason that they're receiving it in Hutchinson is because they've already purchased many of their public safety radios. I believe we're just would be purchasing a few of them, and then for the fire. For the other cities, we're purchasing their city police department radios, but Hutchinson's ahead of us. So that is why we found this to be a good solution for that. We spoke with their county or their city administrator and also their city fire chief and have dealt with those conversations, and that was favorable. So that's why we asked for item C.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Nagel to approve and seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
are all the fire departments taken care of in the county then with this?
Yes.
What about law enforcement?
All public safety, so that's police, fire, and including Silver Lake Ambulance as well. That's the only public-owned ambulance service.
So we go out to Brown, Stewart,
Correct.
Glencoe's covered? Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
And just, Tim, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think some of the delay is, what is the programming cost, right? Well, it's technology, and it's, somebody's got to program all the channels in, all the versus, so everybody can talk and the zones, and literally you can be on the radio. If you catch the right channel and the right tower, you can talk to Glencoe from Duluth if you want to, and that's what's great about these radios. But that's where the programming costs come in, to make sure that that's all dialed in and it's consistent throughout the county. So if I would borrow Tim's radio, it would be the same. We could switch radios and we wouldn't even know the difference.
Correct.
So.
Mr. Chair, so in the packet, you saw that there is an agreement for each of these cities. So I'll detail that in the next item, because I'll be asking you to approve those contracts. But it talks about the agreement and the requirements of the city to use those with their public safety agencies, and that only the public safety agencies can use that. So you can refer to that in your packet if you have questions about how that agreement works.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Do we communicate with other counties, neighboring counties with this?
We do. This is when we went to the Armor system, part of the reason that Armor was developed was the bridge collapse in the metro and the fact that everybody was going and nobody could communicate because every radio system was overwhelmed. So this feature, like Commissioner Nagel was saying, you can talk across the state from tower to tower to tower. So yes, you can definitely talk to all the neighbors.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item D, consider approval of agreement with McLeod County Public Safety Agencies, their cities, for the receipt and use of armor radios purchased using ARPA funds. Public safety agencies receiving new armor radios purchased with ARPA funds, their cities will be required to enter into this agreement with McLeod County, ensuring that the receiving agency will purchase programming and installation costs as required for the use and maintenance of the radios prior to the radios being distributed. One of the cities had, there was a discrepancy in the contract we gave them. That was Glencoe. We've spoken with their city administrator. He pointed out it would be $2,650 versus the listed $1,750. That will be updated in your packets, but that correct copy is being brought to their city council meeting. The cities that would be signing the agreements would be City of Broughton, City of Glencoe, City of Hutchinson, City of Lester Prairie, Plato, Silver Lake, Stewart, Winstead, and that is it. And that covers their fire and police departments, and as Sheriff Lingenfeld mentioned, the Silver Lake ambulance, since it's a public entity.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Nagel. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item E, our county attorney is actually in court today. They had some scheduling issues that interfered with the county board meeting, but Commissioner Nagel is actually on this committee as well. We're asking you to consider approval of LexisNexis amendment for state and local government with library patron access for the McLeod County Law Library.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So 2 weeks ago, or whenever our last meeting was, I brought this up. We had a law library meeting. The committee consists of one commissioner, which is myself, the county attorney, and the two judges that sit in McLeod County. We have to have a law library. I don't know how much it's used, but we do have to have it, and we have requirements to maintain it in many different ways, but including technology, and that's what this is. And this seemed, it was the best price point for this particular software or this particular function. So with that, unless there's any questions for me, I would move to approve the request.
Mr. Chair.
I'll
Commissioner
second
Nagel,
it
do you
so we
just
can go into discussion?
Commissioner Nagel, do you just want to know where the law library is?
The law library is in the courthouse on the second floor, in between courtroom 2 and 3. I've been here 23 years and I still don't always remember what number courtrooms they are, but it's a small hallway in between the courtrooms, and if you've ever been in jury duty, the jury deliberation room is right across the hall from it. So it's well maintained, and they do a nice job. It's small, but it's exactly what we need, and it's just part of it. So there's a list of funding source. There's a law library fund or a budgeted item. So the money's there for it. It's not like it's coming out of a left field on us.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion's been made by Commissioner Nagel and seconded by Commissioner Kruger. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, we had brought to you the McLeod County Capital Asset Policy changes that we were proposing to a workshop recently, and showed you where we were at currently and what we were asking to change to. You will see in the packet that updated and revised policy and procedures, and with the move of the Finance Department from the Auditor Treasurer's Office to our Administration Office, our policies needed to be updated to reflect that change. And the change of the policy also will save time for all departments when performing their annual audit of capital asset items.
Mr. Chair, move adoption of request.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Luthens. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners. That will save a lot of time for our staff. It's a good update, and it's more in line with other counties. So you will see that this policy procedure will be made a piece of our overall finance policy procedure that Deb Crooks and Clean Rollback have been working on. But we need this piece done so they can finish inventory, so thank you. Item G, notification of public hearing on April 5th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. here at our McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota, for the purpose of considering preliminary plans for the redistricting of McLeod County Commissioner districts. A copy of the preliminary plan with all attachments and supporting documentation shall be available for public inspection in the office of the County Auditor Treasurer during regular office hours of 8 o'clock a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Item H, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on April 5th, 2022 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
Sheila, does those hours for inspection at the auditor's office, when do they start?
Mr. Chair, I was wondering the same while I was reading that notice. I would assume it's as soon as it's available, we'll post on a notice on our website if it's not already available immediately. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to misstate the date, but if anyone does have a question about that, they can call us at 320-864-1320.
All right. Any other business to come before us for the good of the county? Hearing none, open forum. Anyone here wish to address the board? Press relations, I see no press. So I would entertain a motion to recess until April 5th, 2022, 9 a.m. here at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North in Glencoe, Minnesota.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're recessed. Thank you.